Ayan, good day everyone. My name is Bethel Charisse Elevaso, a registered agriculturist, and I am excited to discuss a crucial aspect of agricultural and community development, which is the extension education. Now, lagi po nating tatandaan that agriculture is the backbone of our economy, and for it to thrive, kailangan po natin ng effective communication and education strategies na ito po yung nag-empower sa ating mga magsasaka, entrepreneurs, and rural communities. So ano nga ba yung tinatawag nating extension education? Konting background lang po. Pag sinabing extension education, ito yung proseso na kung saan nagbibigay tayo ng panibagong knowledge, innovations, and improved agricultural practices from research institutions papunta po sa ating mga magsasaka and communities. Kumbaga, ang extension education po, ito yung nagbi-bridge ng gap between the scientific advancements and real-world applications para ma-ensure po na yung mga tao ay magkaroon po ng skills and informations na kakailanganin nila para ma-improve ang kanilang pamumuhay. So sa ating discussion, we will explore about the key concepts of extension education, ano ba yung unique characteristics nito, its philosophies, bakit ba natin kailangang gawin ito, at yung mga objectives po ng extension education. And by the end of this session, makikita nyo po kung paano ba ang extension education ay hindi lamang nakafocus sa pagtuturo. Makikita nyo po na it's about empowering people to take charge of their development, make informed decisions, and improve yung quality po ng kanilang pamumuhay. Ayan, let's start na po. Yan, ito po yung ating mga topics. First is the education and concepts. Dito po natin makikita na ang education po ay foundation ng growth, and in extension, natatransform po niya ang knowledge into action for community progress. Next is the concepts of extension. Pag sinabi po nating extension, it's more than just, again, it's more than just teaching. It is a dynamic process of sharing knowledge, solving problems, and development. Next is the philosophy of extension, objectives, and scope of extension. Ayan. Siguro, nung nag-start tayong mag-aral, ayan, alam na natin kung ano ba yung meaning or definition ng education. Now, ipapaalala lang po natin ngayon sa ating discussion. Sabi dito, education is the process of providing training and instruction to help individuals develop their knowledge, skills, abilities, character, and thinking capacity. So, ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating education, it is a lifelong journey na kung saan sineshape po yung pagkatao natin. Tinutulungan tayo ng education para mag-grow as individuals, para mag-isip critically, and also to develop the skills na kakailanganin po natin para tayo ay maging successful sa ating buhay or sa ating careers. And nakikita nyo nga po sa ating presentation, it blends knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And of course, kasama na po dito yung practical abilities natin to prepare us for real-world challenges. Okay? Para din ma-foster yung resilience and adaptability po natin sa ating changing environment. Now, more than just learning facts, ang education, ito po yung nag-nurture sa atin sa pagkakaroon po natin ng problem-solving skills, innovation, and meaningful contribution sa ating society or sa ating community. Now, by continuously expanding our minds and perspectives, education empowers us to navigate life with confidence and purpose. Okay, next. Yan, nabanggit natin kanina na kasama sa education ang knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Now, itong tatlong to, ito yung tatlong pillars of learning. So, kumbaga, ang ibig sabihin lang po nito ay ang edukasyon, um, Again, bawat pillars po ng education natin, meron po silang kanya-kanyang crucial role sa pag-shape kung paano ba tayo matuto, kung paano tayo mag-grow, and kung paano po natin i-apply yung mga napapag-aralan natin sa real-life situations. And of course, these elements work together para ma-develop natin yung ating pagkatao and again, kung paano po tayo mag-isip critically and to perform tasks effectively. Okay? The first one is knowledge. Allow me to read. Knowledge involves learning facts, concepts, principles, and connections between ideas. Okay? Kumbaga, it involves acquiring information about facts, theories, principles, and the relationship between different ideas. So, magigain po natin ito through reading, studying, observing, and experiences. At of course, kung kayo po ay mature na at napagdaanan nyo na po yung iba't ibang levels of learning, malalaman po ninyo na there are different types of knowledge. And this includes yung tinatawag po nating declarative knowledge. So dito, sa declarative knowledge, it is the process na kung saan uh, nalalaman po natin yung facts and concepts. For example, yung pag-iintindi natin sa mathematical formulas or historical events. And aside from the declarative knowledge, meron din po tayong tinatawag na procedural knowledge. Pag sinabi po natin procedural knowledge, ito po yung knowing how to do something like solving equations or following a recipe. Ayan, palagi ko po itong nadidiscuss sa mga estudyante po namin na, ayan, meron po tayong iba't ibang guides, meron po tayong iba't ibang instructions na kailangang sundin. At nakapaloob po iyon sa procedural knowledge. Another one is the conceptual knowledge po. Again, pag sinabi po nating conceptual knowledge, ito po yung iniintindi po natin ng maigi yung connections ng iba't ibang ideas. For example, how climate change affects global agriculture. Ayan. So, having a strong knowledge base allows, sorry, sa pagkakaroon po natin ng strong knowledge, inaalaw po niya tayo na, again, gumawa ng informed decisions and i-apply po natin ito kapag kinakailangan po nating mag-solve ng isang specific na problema sa bawat sitwasyon. Next po is skills. Ayan. Pag sinabi naman po nating skills, again, allow me to read. It is the ability to perform tasks effectively. So, ibig sabihin, ang tinatawag po nating skills, ito po yung mga practical application ng knowledge natin. Kumbaga, from our lectures, natututo tayo ng mga theories, ganyan. Pagdating po kay skills, dito na po natin ina-apply yung practical knowledge natin. Kumbaga, ito po yung nag-i-enable sa atin to complete tasks, to solve problems, and to adapt to different situations efficiently. At meron po tayong classification ng skills. Ayan, hindi ko na po nilagay dito sa ating PowerPoint presentation para po pakinggan nyo na lang po. So, meron po tayong dalawang skills, hard skills and soft skills. Pag sinabi po nating hard skills, ito po yung technical abilities natin na na-acquire natin through training, katulad po ng, for example, sa programming, accounting, medical procedures, or sa agriculture naman po, yung organic agriculture, ayan, how to properly raise farm animals, ayan. Pag sinabi naman pong soft skills, ito po yung interpersonal and cognitive abilities natin, katulad ng paano ba tayo makipag-communicate, yung teamwork, problem solving, and leadership. Now, kapag na-develop po natin itong skills natin, ayan, of course, magkakaroon po tayo ng knowledge about a specific subject. Ayan. And hindi po tayo mag-i-struggle na i-apply ang ating knowledge effectively. For example, knowing the theory behind, katulad ng ginagawa natin, public speaking is different from actually delivering a compelling speech in front of an audience. For example, kami po, nag-aaral po kami, tinrain po kasi kami kung ano yung iba't ibang communication skills. Pero pagdating ko po nung unang salang ko as lecturer, ibang-iba talaga yung experience kasi kapag nakaharap ka na sa audience, may iba't iba po silang learning style. Kailangan po nating matutunan yung iba't ibang skills para transfer po natin properly yung knowledge na gusto nating i-transfer sa mga tao na may iba't ibang learning style. Ayan. Next is yung attitude. Again, allow me to read. It refers to a person's feelings or mindset toward an object, person, situation, or idea. Ayan, sabi nga, mindset, ano? Kumbaga, ito po yung nag-i-influence sa atin. Ini-influence niya yung motivation natin, yung work ethic natin, and kung paano po tayo mag-respond sa iba't ibang challenges. Again, pag sinabi po nating attitude dito sa education, palagi po tayong nakafocus sa positive attitude. Kasi dinedevelop po nito yung resilience natin, adaptability, and willingness to learn. While yung negative attitude naman, nililimit po niya yung growth natin and success. Kasi kahit na ikaw na yung pinakamatalino, ikaw na yung pinaka-skilled sa room, kung wala ka namang positive attitude para ipagpatuloy ito or para i-enhance at ibahagi ito, hindi ka rin magiging successful sa kung ano yung gusto mong gawin. Ayan. Kumbaga, para i-summarize po yung knowledge, skills, and attitude, ayan, kailangan po natin ng balance of knowledge, skills, and attitude para maging successful po tayo sa ating buhay and career. So yung knowledge, nagpo-provide yan ng foundation. Yung skills naman, ine-ensure niya na kaya po nating i-apply practically yung knowledge natin, and yung attitude natin, ito yung nagde-determine kung how effectively natin nagagamit yung knowledge and skills. Ayan. Now, by continuously developing knowledge and refining our skills and maintaining a positive attitude, tayong mga individual ay nagiging well-equipped sa mga real-life challenges. And nakakapag-contribute din tayo sa society natin, sa ating community, and ma-achieve yung ating personal and professional success. Ayan. Ang haba pala ng discussion sa knowledge, skills, and attitude pa lang, ano? Next, meron po tayong tatlong main categories ng education. Ayan, unahin na po natin si informal education. Again, allow me to read. Informal education, learning that happens naturally throughout life based on daily experiences and interaction with the environment. It is not structured or planned, but occurs through observation, conservation, and personal experiences. So, unlike yung formal education natin, which follows a structured curriculum, pag sinabi po nating informal education, it occurs spontaneously through daily experiences, interactions, and observations. Kumbaga, hindi ito naka-confine sa classroom setting, but nangyayari ito sa iba't ibang settings. Katulad na lang sa bahay natin, sa workplace, within communities, or even through digital platforms. Magbigay tayo ng examples ng informal education. First example is observational learning. Okay? Pag sinabi nating observational learning, of course, natututo tayo by just observing. For example, yung child learning social behaviors by watching parents or peers. Ayan, natututo yung bata kapag ino-observe niya kung ano yung ginagawa ng mga nakakatanda sa kanya. Another example is conversation and discussions. So yung simpleng pag-uusap lang, nakakapag-gain ka na ng knowledge dyan from your family, friends, or mentors through casual talking, di ba? Another example is hands-on experience. Ayan. Learning problem solving, cooking, or crafting by doing. Ayan. Next is directed learning. Ayan, nag-explore ka naman ng topics of interest mo through reading books, watching television or videos, or through the internet. Ayan, so in summary, ang informal education ay very important dahil natutulungan niya tayo as individuals to develop practical life skills, adaptability, and a deeper understanding sa ating mundo. Ayan. And it also fosters continuous learning na kung saan sineshape niya po yung ating knowledge, attitudes, and abilities beyond structured academic settings. Next, formal education. Again, allow me to read the definition. It is a structured system of learning provided by schools, colleges, and universities. It follows a set of curriculum, is organized into different levels such as elementary, high school, and college, and leads to certifications or degrees. Pag sinabi nating structured learning for academic and professional growth, ito yung systematic and organized form of learning na kung saan pinoprovide ito ng mga schools, colleges, and universities. And again, it follows a well-defined curriculum na nakadesign to develop knowledge, skills, and competencies across various subjects and disciplines. And this type of education is structured into different levels. Yung nabanggit natin kanina na elementary, high school, and college. Ayan. So, noong nag-elementary tayo, nakafocus yan sa foundational skills natin, katulad ng pagbabasa, pagsusulat, and basic mathematics. Ayan, natatandaan nyo ba? Next is yung secondary education natin. Ito naman yung nag-e-expand ng core subjects natin at nag introduce ito ng specialized learning areas. Pag nasa higher education naman na tayo, it includes college, university programs na nagli-lead sa mga degrees, diplomas, or certification in specific fields. So, ang formal education, it is typically led by trained educators, assessed through exams and assignments, at nagre-result ito sa pagre-recognize ng qualification that enhance the career opportunities of individuals. It also provide a strong academic foundation na kung saan ini-encourage yung discipline and critical thinking na ito yung nagpre-prepare sa mga individual for professional and personal success. The third one is the non-formal education. So yung nauna kanina, informal, formal, and formal. Now, yung last naman po is the non-formal education. It is an organized learning program outside the formal school system designed to meet the specific needs of particular groups. And example po ay yung vocational trainings natin sa TESDA, adult literacy programs, and community-based workshop. So katulad ng formal education, ang non-formal education ay structured but more flexible po than formal education. So kinikater niya yung specific needs ng individuals or communities. At these programs are designed to develop practical skills. Ine-enhance din ito yung literacy or nagpo-provide din po ito ng specialized trainings without requiring full-time academic enrollment. For example, sa TESDA po or yung mga vocational training, ang tinuturo po doon ay mga job-specific skills like agriculture, organic agriculture, carpentry, welding, or computer programming. Sa adult literacy naman, natutulungan yung mga adults natin to improve reading, writing, and numeracy skills. Pagdating naman sa tinatawag po nating community-based workshops, nagkakaroon po ng training on entrepreneurship, organic farming, or financial literacy. So, Kumbaga, ang non-formal education ay very crucial po sa tinatawag nating lifelong learning. Ina-empower niya po yung mga tao with valuable skills and knowledge para ma-improve yung kanilang careers or yung ating careers, as well as yung mga livelihoods and quality of life. And it is more accessible po, adaptable, and focused on immediate practical applications. Next, ayan, extension education. Now, when we say extension education, it is a process and program designed to empower people, especially in rural areas. Kumbaga, empowering communities through knowledge and skills. Ayan. Ang extension education natin ay isa itong dynamic process at ang aim niya is to improve the lives of individuals, particularly yung mga nasa rural areas po natin, by equipping them with practical knowledge and skills. So dito, ine-emphasize yung learning by doing, na kung saan ine-enable po yung mga tao to apply what they learn to enhance productivity, livelihoods, and overall well-being. So may iba't iba pong key aspects ang extension education natin. Sabi nga natin kanina, empowerment through education. So dito kay extension education, nagpa-provide po ito ng trainings on different areas katulad ng agriculture, health, and entrepreneurship and other essential areas. Another key aspect is self-reliance. Dito po ina-encourage natin yung mga tao to solve problems and make informed decisions. Next is community development. Ini-strengthen naman natin yung rural and underserved communities by sharing innovations and best practices. So as defined by Esminger noong 1967 po, extension education is not just about delivering information. It's about fostering continuous learning and self-improvement na kung saan natutulungan yung mga tao to take charge of their growth and progress. So kumbaga, hindi lang po tayo nakaasa sa kung ano yung binibigay sa atin. So, lahat ng itinuturo natin, sabi dito sa extension education ay ginagamit po natin ito for our self-improvement and for our own growth. Kasi as an individual, it is our responsibility na mag-improve at hindi lang po umasa sa ibang tao or sa ibang ahensya ng gobyerno. Next, another definition of extension education. Ayan. Ang extension education ay isa pong scientific discipline din na nakafocus on generating, disseminating, and applying knowledge para makapag-create po ng positive, intentional changes sa mga behavior ng tao. Kumbaga, ang aim po nito ay i-enhance yung skills, businesses, and institutions leading to improved productivity and a better quality of life. Ayan. Next, the basic concept of education. Now, pag sinabi po nating concept, ito po ay general idea or understanding ng isang bagay na nafo-form by combining knowledge, experiences, and observation. Kumbaga, ito po yung nagsaserve as a foundation for learning and problem solving. Natutulungan tayo ng basic concepts na i-categorize or i-interpret yung mga information in a meaningful manner. Ayan. So, etong nababasa po natin sa ating PowerPoint presentation, hina-highlight po dito yung role ng extension education in bringing positive changes in human behavior. At may na-emphasize po dyan na aspects. So, unang-una po ay ina-expand po nito yung knowledge natin. So, kumbaga, ang education, tinutulungan niya tayo to acquire new information, theories, and perspectives para ma-improve po ang ating understanding and decision-making. The next one po is developing skills. At ina-enhance po nito yung parehong mental skills natin, which involve critical thinking, and problem solving. Next po is yung physical skills, which involve performing tasks, requiring coordination and effort. Okay? The next aspect po is yung shaping attitudes. Ayan. So, ang education daw, ini-influence niya yung personal and social behaviors na kung saan fino-foster niya yung ating values, ethics, and emotional intelligence for better interaction and societal contribution. Kumbaga, itong mga concept po na nabanggit natin, nire-reinforce niya na ang education ay it's not just about acquiring facts, but also about applying knowledge, building skills, and cultivating the right attitudes to navigate life successfully. Next, the concept of extension educational process. The process begins by studying the current situation, again, studying the current situation and identifying key problems. Once the problems are recognized, appropriate solutions are determined and clear objectives are set. So, isa-isahin po natin. Pag sinabi po nating extension educational process, isa po itong structured approach to address real-world problems by empowering individuals and communities through education and training. At meron po itong sinusunod na systematic methods. So, unang-una po ay studying the current situation. Yan, nabanggit na natin kanina. So, ibig sabihin, understanding the existing conditions, challenges, and needs of a target group na kailangan po nating maturuan. Katulad ng mga magsasaka, entrepreneurs, or yung mga tao po na nasa rural communities na hindi po gaanong naaabot ng mga formal education. Next is identifying key problems. Dito po natin nire-recognize yung mga issues na hinihinder yung progress, whether related sa agriculture, business, health, or social development. Next po is the determining appropriate solutions. Dito naman po, dinedevelop yung practical, research-based interventions to address the identified problems effectively. And the last one is setting clear objectives. Dito naman po, ine-establish yung mga specific, measurable goals to guide the learning and application process. Kumbaga, itong approach na ito ay ine-ensure po na ang extension education is problem-oriented, participatory, and solution-driven. Yan. Na tinutulungan po yung mga tao to improve again their skills, productivity, and quality of life through informed decision making and continuous learning. So hopefully nakakasunod pa po tayo. Next, the next step involves planning and teaching strategies. Okay, so once clear objectives are set, the next step is to makapag-develop po ng effective plans and teaching strategies para ma-achieve natin yung goals natin. So, unang-una na dyan ay yung planning educational activities. Dito po tayo nagde-design ng structured training programs, demonstrations, workshops, or hands-on learning experiences na naka-connecta po sa needs ng ating target group. Ayan. Next is implementing teaching strategies. Gagamit po tayo dito ng appropriate methods such as lectures, field visits, or participatory discussions para ma-ensure po natin yung knowledge na tina-transfer po natin ay na-a-adapt po nila ng maigi. Ganon din po yung skills para ma-ensure po natin na nade-develop po ito. Next is the review and assessment. Dito po sa area na to, after the implementation, the entire process is evaluated para ma-measure po natin yung progress and ma-identify pa po natin yung mga areas for improvements. And this includes assessing outcomes, addressing the unmet goals, refining strategies, and etc. Now, pag sinabi po natin assessing outcomes, dito po natin dinedetermine whether the objectives were met and if participants effectively applied what they learned. Sa addressing unmet goals naman, ina-identify natin yung mga gaps and challenges na kinakailangan ng further attention. Sa refining strategies naman po, dito natin ina-adjust yung teaching methods natin or nag-i-introduce tayo ng mga panibagong solutions for unresolved issues. So this cyclical approach, ina-ensure nito na ang extension education ay it remains dynamic, responsive, and impactful. And of course, continuously improving to meet involving community needs. Ayan. Ayan. Dumako naman po tayo dito. Para mas maintindihan po natin yung previous discussion natin, ito po ay mga example po lamang ng extension education process. So, the first one is situation analysis. So, makikita nyo po dyan na kailangan kunin yung mga iba't ibang details. So, dito po sa situation analysis, ito po yung pinaka-first step sa extension education process na nakafocus on gathering essential information to address community needs effectively. Ayan. So by conducting a thorough situation analysis, ang mga extension workers po natin ay nagkakaroon po ng kakayahan to develop targeted interventions that are practical, sustainable, and beneficial para sa mga community o tao na tutulungan nila. Ayan. Ito po yung examples ng situation analysis. Kailangan mo pong i-identify yung mga problems na kailangang i-address for effective extension education. And each issues na nakikita po natin, it directly impacts farmers' productivity and livelihood. Ayan. The damage caused by wild boars. Ayan. Mga examples lang po yan. Now, addressing these challenges through education, technology, and resource management ay napaka-importante po for sustainable agriculture development. And by understanding these issues, we can develop better solutions for farmers and their communities. Next, setting objectives. Now, after identifying key agricultural challenges, the next step is setting clear objectives para ma-address po natin yung mga issues effectively. So, kumbaga, itong main goal po natin, the primary objective is to increase rice production using the system using the SRI. Ayan po yung example natin. So yung method na yan, ine-enhance niya yung yield by improving planting techniques, water management, and soil fertility while reducing inputs katulad ng seeds and chemical fertilizer. Now sa specific goals naman, ine-enhance dito yung farmers' understanding. And dina-develop din yung practical skills dito. Now, by aligning these objectives with farmers' needs, extension education, ine-ensure nito yung sustainable and efficient rice production, leading to improved food security and farmers' incomes. Ayan. Medyo maingay po ang ating background kasi may nagsisigawan sa labas. And hopefully makabili po ako ng microphone na nawawala yung noise. Ayan. Number 3, teaching plan of work. Pag sinabi po nating teaching plan of work, ina-ensure nito na yung agricultural training is well organized, practical, and responsive sa mga needs po ng ating mga magsasaka and other individuals po na matatagpuan sa rural communities. Ayan. And this involves careful planning of educational activities para ma-maximize po natin yung learning outcomes. Mababasa nyo po dito sa ating PowerPoint presentation na may iba't ibang components sa pagde-decide ng content na kailangan po natin sa ating teaching plan. So sa pag-select po ng relevant topics, very crucial po ito kasi dito po natin i-address yung challenges na kinakaharap po ng ating mga magsasaka at para ma-improve po ang kanilang productivity. So Maaari po na ang gawin po nating content ay about sa improved farming techniques and kasama po dito yung efficient planting, fertilization, and harvesting methods. Maaari rin po nating isama dito yung pest control. Dito po natin ina-identify and minamanage yung mga peste using integrated pest management or yung tinatawag po nating IPM. And maaari rin po nating ituro sa kanila yung iba't ibang irrigation methods katulad ng water conservation strategies, katulad na lang ng drip irrigation and alternate wetting and drying. Maaari rin po nating ituro yung marketing strategies kasi ito po yung medyo nakakaligtaan ng ating mga magsasaka, particularly po yung ating mga traditional farmers, no? Medyo wala po silang market strategies. So dito sa extension education, natutulungan po natin yung ating mga magsasaka to access better markets, understand the pricing trends, and improve profitability. Now, by tailoring the content to local conditions and farmer needs, ang extension programs po ay nabibigay niya yung practical learning na nagli-lead to better yields, sustainable practices, and economic growth. So, yan, malaking tulong po ito lalong-lalo na sa ating mga magsasaka and sa mga tao po na nasa rural areas na hindi naman madalas naabot ng formal education. Okay? Evaluation of teaching. Now, evaluation, it is a very critical step in the extension education process as it measures the effectiveness of the teaching approach. Kasi hindi naman po lahat ng teaching approach ay appropriate sa bawat individual. So, dito po sa evaluation of teaching, tinutulungan po ang extension worker to determine whether the learning objectives have been achieved and if the knowledge imparted has been clearly understood and applied by farmers. Dito, ina-assess natin yung learning outcomes. Tinitignan po natin if yung mga magsasaka po ay nakapag-gain sila ng knowledge and na-improve po yung kanilang skills. Ine-ensure din po dito na yung teaching methods ay engaging and easy to understand. Ayan. So, sa feedback collection naman po, ginagather natin dito yung input from farmers para ma-identify pa natin yung areas for improvement. So, kung tayo po ay nagtuturo, kung ikaw ay educator, kung ikaw ay trainer, huwag ka pong matatakot sa evaluation kasi ito po yung tumutulong sa atin para ma-improve pa yung ating skills and yung ating kakayahan to communicate with our uh, students or trainees para mas ma-improve din natin yung kumbaga transfer of learning. Kasi maaring akala natin magaling na tayong magturo pero hindi pala natin na ibibigay ng maayos or hindi natin nata-transfer ng maigi yung knowledge na meron tayo sa ating mga audience. Ayan. Now, by continuously evaluating our teaching process, extension educators can ensure practical, impactful, and sustainable agricultural education na namimit po natin kung ano talaga yung pangangailangan ng ating mga magsasaka or ng ating mga tinuturuan. Next, reconsideration. Ito yung final step sa extension education process. Dito naman natin ini-ensure yung continuous improvement din. And it involves reviewing previous teaching efforts, ina-analyze natin yung results, and making necessary adjustments based on challenges, feedback, and emerging opportunities. Ayan. Excuse me. So dito naman, ine-evaluate natin whether teaching strategies effectively improve farmers' skills and knowledge. Nire-recognize din po natin yung difficulties na kinakaharap po ng ating mga magsasaka or yung mga gaps in trainings. Ayan. And of course, kailangan din po nating i-modify yung ating content, methods, or delivery para to better suit farmers' needs. Ayan. And of course, ine-ensure po ng extension programs na relevant po and practical and effective yung ating itinuturo over time. Now, by continually refining teaching approaches, tayong mga extension educators ay makakapag-provide ng more impactful and sustainable agricultural training na na-adapt po ng changing conditions and na-adapt din po ng pangangailangan ng ating mga magsasaka and other individuals na um, nasa rural areas po. Okay, next, objective of extension. Again, pag sinabi po nating objectives, ito po yung nag-a-act as guide for extension programs and nakakatulong po ito sa extension workers and communities na maintindihan kung ano ba yung gusto nating i-achieve. Kumbaga, itong objectives, ito po yung nagpo-provide ng clear goals para ma-ensure na yung efforts ay nakafocus po on bringing meaningful change. Now, without defined objectives, ang extension efforts po ay walang direksyon. Kumbaga, it may not effectively address the needs of the people. Now, the main objective of extension is to empower people and improve their quality of life through education and development. Ayan. Next. The first step in extension work is understanding the challenges and opportunities within a community. So this can be done through surveys, interviews, discussions, or direct observations po by the extension workers. And sabi nga dito sa ating PowerPoint presentation, needs can be obvious, or ito yung tinatawag nating felt needs, or hidden or unfelt needs. Both require yung felt needs and unfelt needs, parehong nire-require nito yung ating attention. Okay? Now, analyzing needs. Once needs are identified, ang next steps naman ay, ayan, i-analyze po natin yung mga cause and effects. For example po, kapag ang magsasaka ay naka-experience ng low crop yields, ang extension worker ay pwede niyang i-assess kung yung issue ba ay due to poor soil quality, or are they using outdated farming methods, or do they lack access to quality seeds or fertilizers? Marami po kasing wait lang po marami po kasing iba't ibang mga challenges na kinakaharap ang mga magsasaka. Minsan po kasi ang mga farmers natin, kapag nakita nila na natuyo yung kanilang tanim, minsan akala nila may peste. Pero yun pala, kulang lang sa, kulang lang sa dilig, kulang lang sa fertilizer, or baka sumobra naman. So, kailangan ang extension worker po ay alamin niyang maigi, i-assess niyang maigi kung ano ba talaga yung problema. Okay? Now, by analyzing these issues, yung community po na kung saan tinuturuan ng mga extension workers ay mas maiintindihan nila kung ano ba talaga yung root causes ng problems rather than just yung symptoms na nakikita natin. Ayan. Next. Ay, wala pa pala. Addressing needs. Now, after identifying and analyzing needs, the Extension Service provides solutions through education, training, and access to resources. And this can include yung pagtuturo po sa ating mga magsasaka ng mga panibagong planting techniques to increase productivity. Maaari din po tayong mag-introduce ng financial literacy training para matulungan po ang ating rural entrepreneurs na i-manage po ang kanilang business. And pwede rin po tayong mag-connect sa communities with our government or private programs that provide support. Ayan. Next is, again, one of the core objectives po ng extension, sabi nga natin kanina, is to help individuals and communities recognize, analyze, and address their needs. And these needs can be classified into two types. Yan, nabanggit natin kanina, yung felt needs. So ito yung mga problems or challenges na kinakaharap po ng isang individuals or communities na aware po sila. Okay? Ibig sabihin, alam nila na nangyayari. Katulad ng low crop yields. Ayan, observe naman nila. Pest infestation or lack of access to markets. Now, ang extension worker po ay tumutulong by providing practical solutions aside from theories, such as training on improved farming techniques or better pest management. Pag sinabi naman po nating unfelt needs, these are needs that people may not yet recognize but are essential for their long-term well-being. For example, sustainable farming practices katulad ng soil conservation or digital marketing skills for farmers may not be immediately seen as necessary, but extension services tinutulungan po silang mag-create ng awareness and ine-encourage sila na i-adapt ito. Now, paano ba ito na-achieve ng extension? Nagkakandak po tayo ng assessment para ma-identify yung parehong felt and unfelt needs. Nagpo-provide tayo ng trainings, demonstrations, and advisory services to address these needs. And of course, ina-encourage po natin ang ating mga participants or ang ating mga magsasaka to participate and para ma-empower din po yung ating communities in decision making. Now, by addressing the immediate concerns and future challenges, ang extension service po ay may ensure niya na meron pong sustainable development and long-term progress in agriculture and rural communities. Okay. Next is, these are the general objectives or function of extension. Meron po tayong dalawang skills. So, ang extension programs ay, ang aim niya, again, inuulit-ulit po natin para hindi po natin makalimutan. So, ang pinaka-aim po ng extension programs ay to empower individuals to take initiative and become effective leaders in their communities. Now, by providing trainings, mentoring, and opportunities for leadership, extension helps farmers, entrepreneurs, and rural workers na makapag-develop na i-develop ang kanilang confidence and ability to organize and even influence and guide others. Now, kapag meron kang strong leadership, ma-foster mo yung self-reliance and may encourage mo din yung community na makagawa ng solution. And this ensures that the agricultural and rural development efforts are sustained over time. Now, pagdating naman dito sa disseminate knowledge, isang key function po ng extension is to share relevant and practical information na nakakapag-enhance ng skills, decision-making, and problem-solving. And of course, this involves delivering scientifically backed and experience-based knowledge on topics like modern farming, sustainable resources management, pest control, and market trends. So, ang extension service ay gumagamit po ng iba't ibang methods such as trainings, demo, farm visits, mass media, and digital platforms para ma-ensure po na ang information ay nare-reach niya yung mga tao na nangangailangan talaga nito. Now, by building leadership and sharing knowledge, extensions programs strengthen rural communities, promote innovation, and contribute to long-term agricultural and economic growth. Ayan, malapit na po tayong matapos. Ayan, again, one of the key functions of extension is to ensure that researchers and practitioners stay updated. Alam naman po natin na ang bilis magbago ng technology. So, kumbaga, updated po tayo sa latest developments in agriculture, technology, and rural development. So this continuous exchange of knowledge, natutulungan po tayo na i-bridge yung gap between the scientific research and practical application in the field. Kasi hindi lang naman po dapat theory lang. Hindi lang po dapat memorize lang natin kung ano yung gagawin. Dapat alam din natin kung paano i-apply sa ating mga field or sa ating mga laboratories yung theories na napag-aaralan natin through our trainings and lectures. Now, for researchers, the extension provides feedback from farmers, rural workers, and agricultural communities na kung saan natutulungan ang ating mga researchers to understand real-world challenges. And this allows them to refine their studies and develop more applicable solutions. Now, for practitioners naman po, ayan, medyo nawala tayo. Ayan, for practitioners naman po, katulad ng mga magsasaka natin, extension workers, and agribusiness professionals, nagbe-benefit po ito from timely access to new techniques, innovation, and best practices. Na kung saan ito po yung nag-ensure na yung method po nila ay effective and competitive. Now, by facilitating a two-way flow of information, extension promotes continuous learning, adaptation, and improvement na kung saan naglilid po ito sa more sustainable and productive agriculture and rural development practices. Next, principles of extension. Okay, pag sinabi nating principles, ito yung mga fundamental truths or guidelines na nagsaserve as a foundation for decision-making and actions. So ito yung nagpa-provide ng structured approach sa pag-achieve ng goals effectively and ethically. Yan. So in extension work, understanding the interest and needs ng mga individuals and communities ay napaka-importante po for success. So yung mga tao ay more likely magpa-participate yan in learning and development programs kapag nakikita po nila na relevant yung itinuturo po natin sa kanilang daily lives and aspirations. Now, ang mga extension workers po ay kailangang mag-engage sa mga communities to recognize both the felt needs and unfelt needs na na-discuss natin kanina. Okay, once ma-identify yung mga needs nila, ang mga extension workers ay kailangang mag-create ng extension activities na designed to match their priorities and concerns. Ayan, para magkaroon ng more practical and effective learning strategies or teaching strategies. Next, when people see value in extension efforts, they are more motivated to actively engage, adopt innovations, and implement solutions that improve their livelihoods. Now, ano bang ibig sabihin ng first principle natin? Pinaprioritize nito yung interest and needs ng mga tao. So, ibig sabihin, yung extension work, mas nagiging meaningful yan. And mas nagkakaroon sila ng impact and sustainability na kung saan nagli-lead ito sa long-term community development. Ayan. Next, the grassroots principle. Now, when we say grassroots, ina-emphasize nito yung effective extension work na nakafocus po sa community level, nakafocus sa families, village, and local organization. So, kumbaga ito din yung tinatawag na bottom-up approach. Ina-ensure nito na yung extension services ay accessible po and relevant and directly beneficial sa mga tao na talagang nangangailangan nito. Okay? Now, engaging with people at the local level ay natutulungan ang mga extension workers na maintindihan kung ano ba yung unique challenges, resources, and opportunities na nasa community. Next is empowering local leaders. Now, by strengthening the leadership within villages and families, yung mga communities po na tinuturuan ng extension workers natin ay magkakaroon po sila ng own development, making solutions more sustainable and self-sufficient. Now, ensuring practical solutions. Yung solutions na nanggagaling po within the community are often more acceptable and easily implemented dahil ito yung naka-align sa local values, tradition, and conditions nila. By starting at the grassroots levels, ang extension work po ay mas nakakapag-build sila ng stronger foundations for longer-term development and na-ensure po nila na yung knowledge and innovations ay nare-reach talaga and nabe-benefit talaga even the most remote communities. Next, cultural differences. Dito naman po, ina-acknowledge natin na ang extension workers and the communities they serve may came from diverse cultural backgrounds na kung saan nakaka-influence din po ito sa communication, perception, and interaction. So recognizing and respecting these differences is essential for successful extension work. Now, kailangan ang extension worker ay maging aware and respect the beliefs and values and traditions of the people they are working with. At makakatulong po ito sa pag-build ng trust and sa pag-encourage ng participation. Ayan. So, adapting communication style. Yung mga language barriers, nonverbal cues, and different ways of interpreting information can impact knowledge transfer. So, kailangan gumamit po tayo ng locally understood terms, visual aids, and demonstrations na makakapag-improve sa communication po natin. Kailangan din po natin i-encourage yung involvement from lahat ng cultural groups, including indigenous communities, women, and youth na para ma-ensure po natin na yung extension programs ay makakapag-benefit dito lahat ng tao in an equal manner. Now, by embracing cultural diversity, ang extension worker ay mas ma-foster pa niya yung mutual understanding, makakapag-build pa siya ng stronger relationship, and makakapag-create pa ng more effective and sustainable development programs. Ayan. Next is cooperation and participation. Now, yung principle naman po ng cooperation and participation, ang ine-emphasize po dito ay yung importance ng community involvement and the success of extension programs. Now, kapag ang individual po ay actively engaging sa pagpaplano, sa pagkakaroon ng decision making and implementation, they take ownership of the initiatives na kung saan nag-i-increase din po yung commitment and nai-ensure yung long-term success. Now, ang extension worker, they should work with the community, not just for them. Kumbaga, kailangang i-encourage po nila yung collaboration between the community. And kailangan po nilang i-foster yung sense of shared responsibility in solving local problems. And of course, when community members contribute their ideas, knowledge, and experiences, yung extension program ay magiging mas relevant and naka-connect na po sa kanilang actual needs. Ayan. Yung cooperation naman po ay ito yung nagpo-promote ng teamwork and trust among community members. So kapag nagkaroon nun, magkakaroon din po ng willingness na tumulong sa bawat isa and to sustain the initiatives even after the extension workers leave. Ayan. Malapit na po talaga tayong matapos. Next is the principle of learning by doing. Dito naman po na-highlight dito yung importance ng hands-on experience in the extension process. So rather than just listening to instructions, learners actively engage in practical activities. And naglilid ito sa better understanding, skill development, and long-term retention of knowledge. So yung mga practical experience po natin ay inaalaw po ito na mai-apply po natin yung knowledge in real-life situations na kung saan nai-improve po natin yung problem-solving and decision-making abilities natin. Now, ang extension worker din po ay kailangan niyang i-encourage yung active participation. So yung engaging learners in actual tasks, nade-develop po nito yung interest and motivation na kung saan nagagawa niyang mas meaningful and enjoyable po ang extension activities. Now, when people practice what they learn, they are more likely to adopt and sustain improved techniques, whether in farming, business, or community projects. And by incorporating hands-on activities, ang extension programs po ay mas nagiging effective and impactful. Yan. adaptability principle in extension teaching method. Dito naman po na-emphasize yung na ang extension teaching methods should be flexible and na-adjust po to meet the diverse needs, learning styles, and cultural backgrounds ng community. Since different communities ay meron pong iba't ibang literacy levels, traditions, resources, and interest, kailangan a one-size-fits-all approach is ineffective. So, kailangan flexible po yung ating pagtuturo. Ang extension programs should be designed based on the specific conditions of the target audience. Katulad na lang nung language, ayan, and available resources. And kailangan din po nating i-combine yung demonstrations, field visits, and visual aids, and interactive discussions para ma-ensure natin na yung information na gusto nating ipaabot sa kanila ay accessible and engaging sa lahat ng learners. Ayun. So, kailangan din nating encourage yung participation. Kasi kapag ang isang teaching method ay na-adapt ng mga tao, ayan, mas willing po silang makinig. Ayan, and mas nagiging motivated sila at open po sila to adopt new practices na itinuturo mo. Ayan. Malapit na talagang matapos. Ayan. Effective leadership. Ayan. Ito naman yung nagfo-foster sa yung tinatawag nating community engagement, motivation, and yung pag-i-implement ng mga initiatives natin. Next, the whole family principle po. Dito naman nare-recognize na ang pamilya ay ito po yung foundation sa society natin and it also plays a crucial role in decision making, learning, and resource management. So kailangan sa mga extension programs natin, dapat involved po dito yung mga family members kasi sila po yung talagang nakaka-influence sa success of farming, financial stability, and community participation. Now, by engaging the entire family and extension activities, nagkakaroon po tayo ng better communication, teamwork, and shared goals. Kumbaga, kapag nagsama-sama po at nag-work together yung mga miyembro ng pamilya, nababalanse po dito yung farm operations, yung household expenses and savings na kung saan ito yung nagli-lead sa sustainable livelihoods. And of course, by involving the children and youth, na-ensure din natin yung continuation of good agricultural practices, values, and life skills. Ayan. So, kapag ang mga pamilya po or ang mga miyembro ng pamilya ay well-informed and actively participating sa extension programs, mas nagkakaroon po ng stronger and more resilient community. Ayan. Hopefully po nakakasunod pa tayo. Now, the importance of extension. So, sabi dito sa ating PowerPoint presentation, ang extension education is very crucial kasi it goes beyond simply delivering information. Yan, nakafocus yan kung paano ba tayo magturo effectively so that yung mga individuals and communities ay ma-adapt po nila and ma-apply yung mga bagong knowledge in practical ways. Now, ang extension po ay pinaprioritize kung paano makipag-communicate at kung paano magturo para maintindihan po ng mga tao and accept nila yung mga research-based techniques in their daily lives. Now, by using demonstration, participatory learning, and hands-on training, ang extension po ay nagagawa niyang mas engaging and impactful ang learning. Ayan. Now, by adopting innovative techniques and best practices, yung mga individuals na tinuturuan ng extension workers ay may improve pa nila yung kanilang farming techniques, business, and community development efforts. Sabi nga natin, ang extension po, ito yung nagbi-bridge ng gap between research and practical use na kung saan ginagawa niyang more accessible and relevant yung mga panibagong knowledge. And ang extension education po ay natutulungan niyang magkaroon ng problem-solving skills ang mga tao sa pamamagitan po ng pag-a-apply ng kanilang knowledge and skills sa real-world problems. Ayan. And of course, na-enhance po dito yung productivity, sustainability, and economic stability. Next, last but not the least, ayan, beyond knowledge dissemination. Ang extension education po ay napaka-importante rin sa pag-address ng social challenges natin na nag-a-arise kapag tayo po ay nag implement ng development programs. And these challenges may include resistance to change, cultural differences, economic barriers, and lack of participation. Now, kailangan po nating mag-promote ng inclusivity. So, ang extension, ini-ensure niya na ang development programs are accessible sa lahat, including yung mga marginalized groups po natin, such as small-scale farmers, ang mga kababaihan, and indigenous communities po. Ayan, nagfo-foster po ito ng equal opportunities for growth. And of course, nag-encourage din ito ng social acceptance of innovations. Yung mga bagong technologies and practices, alam naman po natin na it can face resistance dahil nga sa mga traditional beliefs or uncertainty. So yung extension, tinutulungan niya ang mga communities na maintindihan yung benefits ng innovation while respecting local customs and values. So hindi naman ibig sabihin po na magtuturo tayo ng panibagong technologies ay mali na yung traditional way of farming or traditional way of business. Ang ibig sabihin lang ng extension ay tama yung mga traditional ways, pero kailangan din po nating i-accept na nagbabago po ang ating environment. So, kailangan po nating i-balanse at ipaghalo yung traditional as well as yung mga panibagong techniques para makapag-adapt po tayo sa changing environment natin. Next is, ayun, yung mga nade-develop po na programs natin ay natutulungan din po na mag-succeed yung ating mga tinuturuan. At nangyayari yan kapag nakakapag-build tayo ng trust, collaboration, and shared decision-making sa mga tinuturuan po natin. Ayan. Now, by addressing these social challenges, ang extension education po ay nakakagawa ng isang environment na kung saan nade-develop yung parehong effective and sustainable way na nakakapag-benefit po ang communities in the long run. Ayan. At dyan po natatapos ang chapter 1 ng extension education. Now, follow me po for more updates. Hopefully, may natutunan po tayo and sana mai-apply po natin ito sa ating fields, sa ating laboratories, or sa ating mga gardens. Ayan. And hindi lang po sana ito mag-stay as lecture, mag-stay rin po ito as practical skill. Ayan. Thank you po sa pakikinig.